Learn to read specific values from a past JSON object using brackets notation. In this lesson, we are going to be looking at how you can access values from objects using brackets notation. Although there are two different ways to do this. The first is the dot notation and the other one is the bracket notation. Why dot notation is great? JavaScript gives you a second incredibly powerful way to look up information inside an object, and that is bracket notation. So instead of a dot, you place square bracket after the object's name and pass the key name inside them as a string wrapped in code. So this is a lifesaver when the name of your key is dynamic, meaning it lives inside another variable, or if the key name has spaces or special character that will break dot notation. So let's move into the script tag and look at an example that demonstrates how this bracket notation can be used to access object properties. So let's make a plain text string or a JSON text string. So let's call it my JSON. And add a property of car. So now that I have this JSON string, so let me go ahead and make another variable, my obj, and use the JSON.parse method to convert it into a live object. And now I can go ahead and use the document.getElement by ID method. And then call the object name and use the dot notation to pass in whatever property you want to check for. And now look at this. We have 30 on the screen. Now, this example passes a standard JSON text string into a native object using the JSON pass method. We then demonstrate how to access the age name using my obj and then the bracket and the age in double quotes. Instead of a dot, pulling out the string 30 and the number 30 rather, and displaying it on the screen. So if I want to pull the car, I just change what I have here, and this should not display anything because none refers to empty or no value, and so it's correct. Then if I want to pass the city, then this should give me New York, and the name should give me John. So you can see that with the bracket notation, you can, interact with any property of the live object that you want. But if this part is not included, we will see what is going to happen. You can see that the value of what we have has disappeared. Or better still, if you try to access it directly like this, my JSON, you should receive undefined, and that is because this format is not known to JavaScript. So see it as a plain text, so you cannot use bracket notation on a JSON string. So you first need to convert it into a live object before you can then use the bracket notation to access the property. Immediately I'll comment this, then you should see this work back to my object, my obj, and then you should see John on the screen. So let's quickly look at what happened here. So here is where the bracket notation is being used. If you look at this, my obj, it searches for the exact string key. So to search through this place that has been passed, then once it sees the name inside the bracket, then it will extract its value as John, and then it will display John on the screen. So you might want to ask that, why use this over a dot notation? Well, if your JSON data had a key with a space in it, for example, let's say we have first name instead of name. Now, you can see that with brackets notation, I'm able to still get the output on the screen. So if I do Max John as the first name, then this will still work. But now let me go ahead and try this with dot notation. Dot first name. So this will throw an error. You can see it immediately, and if you inspect inside the console, you should see occurred syntax error. You can see unexpected token. You can see that immediately I put that space, it's giving me an error. So this is the advantage of bracket notation over dot notation. But once I change this back to bracket notation, then this should work, as you can see. So this is working perfectly. So this is one of the advantage that bracket notation has over dot notation. So if you have nested values that you want to grab from your object, you can easily do that using the bracket notation. Here are a few key takeaways from this lesson. Number one, bracket notation allows you to safely access JSON property keys that contain spaces, numbers, or special character. Our example is what we have here. You can see the space in our key. Number two, when typing specific key name directly inside the bracket, you must wrap it in quotes, e.g., first name. Otherwise, JavaScript will think you are passing the variable name. For example, if I take the quote here, JavaScript will assume that you are passing a variable, and it will immediately throw an error. And you can see the rest squiggly line under the name. And if we check the error in the console, you will see this occurred syntax error, missing brackets in index expression. So that double quote is very important. This number three, this notation is essential when the key you want to look up changes based on user input or loop. So if I revert this back to the double quote, then it will work as it was doing before. And you can see Max John is returned back on the screen.